thing started like a joke. Just some few weeks back, we woke up to this rhetoric of genocide of Christians in Nigeria. And it went on for a long time with people bringing out reports, men of God, pastors in the North Central, the North West also speaking up regarding the so called genocide that has been alleged by the United States. And so we had Ted Cruz coming in to also tweet about it. And just recently, because of the killing of a pastor, a reverend in Kaduna State, United States President directly, went ballistic only recently. And that has, in so many ways, rattled Aso Rock, Abuja. Now, when the President of the United States came out to designate Nigeria of particular concern. I have given you the implications of that. I've also told you about what to expect. Now it's looking like it's going to happen any moment from now. Okay, so let me now give you an update regarding what I have done in the past. As soon as Nigeria was designated a country of particular concern by the United States, only God knew what was going to come afterwards. I mean, the president needed to react to that particular incident. And here is what the president of Nigeria posted on his Twitter handle just recently in response to the toga of Nigeria of particular concern due to religious intolerance. He says, Nigeria stands firmly as a democracy governed by constitutional guarantees of religious liberty. Since 2023, our administration has maintained an open and active engagement with Christian and Muslim leaders alike and continues to address security challenges which affect citizens across faiths and religions or regions. The characterization of Nigeria as a religiously intolerant does not reflect our national reality, nor does it take into consideration the consistent and sincere effort of the government to safeguard freedom of religion and beliefs for all Nigerians. Religious freedom and tolerance have been a core tenet of our collective identity and should or shall always remain so. Nigeria opposes religious persecution and does not encourage it. Nigeria is a country with constitutional guarantees to protect citizens of all faiths. Our administration is committed to working with the United States government and the international community to deepen understanding and cooperation on protection of communities of all faiths. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Okay, so a few things that I picked up from this particular statement is that he specifically stated since 2023. I don't know if that, would mean that before 2023, he is not responsible for it. And that whatever that has happened before 2023, I mean, you can't blame him for it. But given his administration, you can't necessarily say that, well, XYZ has happened under his watch, okay? Because he has provided the level playing field. So many persons would want to really go against that particular line of thought because it is under his watch that negotiations between bandits and the state government in this country happened. People who are known bandits, people who attack and kill people in the Northeast, have in the Northwest specifically, have practically gone scot-free. You see them carry arms, ammunition, drive on bikes, on motorbikes, and move across the state unhindered. Some of them come out and even grant press statements because they have negotiated with the state government of, I mean, just name it. There's virtually no state in the Northwest you could say that, well, there haven't been any form of negotiation that has happened. But look at Nnamdi Kanu, a man who practically was saying he wants the government of Nigeria to basically have a level playing field for everybody, both Christians, Muslims, and for the Igbo tribe. But he's still being held under captivity. So far, we cannot point to any direction and say, oh, well, you know what, a certain group of terrorists are held. The last time under the last administration of Buhari, people were pardoned and even reabsorbed into the society. There were even reports that they were even absorbed into the military. So you can't look at that and then turn a blind eye and say, well, since 2023, nothing spectacular have actually really happened. That you could tell that okay, this government is serious about you know religious tolerance. Now let's now put out some of the comments that people have basically said in reaction to the president's statement, because I'm going to go to what President Donald Trump now actually says, because he made some comments recently that looks like they might most likely have some military men, Americans down Nigeria, and they're looking at attacking specific targets. And it's crazy. I'm going to read that comment and I'm going to come to that. But this particular one says, Your Excellency, you should not worry about enemies of peace worldwide. The USA has been known for creating wars, even in peaceful countries. We have examples of countries where they have pushed them into conflict, such as Libya, Sierra Leone, Yemen, Afghanistan, and many others. They have tried to instigate war in Nigeria, but they will end up shamefully. CAN has debunked the story, but they still go ahead to declare Nigeria as anti-Christianity. If USA let them ban us from breathing oxygen. This one says, I am deeply concerned about the fact that it took one statement from the United States to get our government to address something of this much importance. So if the USA did not make this statement, we wouldn't have shown ourselves to be doing something significant about the plight of the Nigerian people. This is deeply concerning. We do not have to keep playing second fiddle to the global community. We can lead our way into our own future. I acknowledge the efforts. I am just concerned that what it took to get a statement, the cries of the Nigerian people, wasn't important enough to evoke any meaningful response until USA spoke. Who is the government answerable to? Is it the Nigerian people or the USA? It is just really concerning, that person says. And somebody now, quoted Ahmed Bola Tinubu, his 2014 tweet, and posted it right under that tweet, and says he wrote this in 2014 against the Goodluck Jonathan's administration. It says the slaughtering of Christian worshippers is strongly condemnable. It calls to question the competence of Jonathan to protect Nigerians. That has gathered over 200,000 views, and it's, of course, how crazy that can be. So let's see. This other one says, I say this with every disrespect, Mr. President. This is bull. You and your ilk of incompetent, corrupt politicians, past and present, have done nothing to eradicate these terrorists from Nigeria. You know who they are, where they are, and some of your politicians are in cahoots with them for power. I have zero confidence in your political will to end the religious violence against Nigerian Christians and Muslims. You should be sacked with immediate effect for gross incompetence. Okay. There's so many messages here, quite frankly. I mean, and there are tons of them. I don't really want to make this video very long. So I'm going to read to you the response of President Donald Trump beyond the designation now. I'm going to read to you what he said, as like saying that the United States of America would most likely put boots on the ground. That's scary. I'm also going to tell you what Shoure said about that. So let's go straight to it. So let's tell you the story. US President Donald Trump has threatened to carry out attacks in Nigeria in response to purported anti-Christian violence, saying he instructed the recently renamed Department of War to prepare for possible action. In a social media post on Saturday, Trump said the United States would immediately cut off all assistance to the African country, that is Nigeria, if the Nigerian government continues to allow killings of Christians. The U.S. may very well go into the now disgraced country, guns ablazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. Trump added, without specifying which groups or alleged atrocities he was referring to. I am hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet. Just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. Warning, the Nigerian government better move fast, he wrote. The Nigerian government did not immediately respond to Trump's threat. The social media post comes a day after the US president announced that Nigeria would be added to the Department of State's list of countries of particular concern, which is set up to monitor religious persecution around the world. In recent months, right-wing lawmakers and other prominent figures in the United States have claimed that violent disputes in Nigeria are part of a campaign of Christian genocide. While human rights groups have urged the Nigerian government to do more to address unrest in the country, which has experienced deadly attacks by Boko Haram and other armed groups, experts say that claims of a Christian genocide are false and simplistic. Ebenezer Obadari, a senior fellow for Africa Studies at the Washington, D.C.-based Council of the Foreign Relations, said that Trump was right in identifying a lacking response from the Nigerian government towards Boko Haram. Obadari said that those facing persecution in Nigeria included not just Christians, but Muslims, non-Christians, agnostics, everybody in between. He added that the Trump administration should work with Nigerian authorities to address the common enemy. And that went berserk. Everyone started screaming about it. You know, I cringe when I see these kinds of things because, again, in the year 2021, I remember clearly that there was a list released by the Nigerian, not the Nigerian government, by the UAE government. The list contains the companies and individuals involved in sponsoring Islamic terrorists in Nigeria. That was under the Buhari administration. That happened. I read it. I was working in a radio station at the time, and I read that particular story, and it's cringy that that particular story was all over the news, all over the place, and the Nigerian government has not been able to do anything in that regard. At least even investigate it. I mean, this is an international organization. No, not international. This is a country, the UAE. I mean, we know have a better sophisticated investigative strengths than us, and are telling you these companies and these individuals have been involved in sponsoring Islamic terrorist group in Nigeria. But yet we still have, Nigerian government acting as if they don't know where these people are. That is just the problem. If, for instance, an arrest was made when the list was released, or some investigations was even done and seen to be concluded, one would have said, okay, there has been some moves. There have been some moves, because it almost looks as if there is a no activity moves from the government in terms of tackling insecurity posed by Islamic terrorist groups. That is one of the reasons why I think this thing is blowing up really fast right in our faces, and it does look like there is no end in sight about this development. Let me tell you what Showore actually had tweeted. I'm going to put out Showore's tweet. Showore is completely against the president tweet, that's President Trump's tweet, saying that rhetoric would not play out because the American government have been seen to go into countries and they leave the countries in ruins, much more worse than they met it. So maybe Nigeria might just be their next target of disintegration. So he is saying that every well-meaning Nigerians, no matter who you are, a Christian, Muslim, or atheist, or pagan, whoever you are, we should come together and make sure that this change we seek must come from within, not the government. He says completely, not the government led by Tinubu. That this tweet is not supporting government led by Tinubu, but clearly stated that, look, enough is enough, but we wouldn't want a United States-backed change that would cause more chaos because of what we have seen in the past with other countries that they have stepped their legs in and left it worse than they met it. We're talking about Libya, we're talking about Afghanistan, we're talking about, just name the countries that they've stepped in and they left it in ruins. So those are some of his words, even though I'm paraphrasing, but I read his tweet and I thought that I should also highlight it on this platform. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear from you as always. I would also have my 2 cents on it. Do you think United States would be justified by putting boots on the ground and basically in protection of Christians if the government of Nigeria really wouldn't do anything in that regard? What do you think? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear from you as always. Thank you. See you on the next one.